Hello, everyone. I'm Rhonda Spears-Bell, Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer at the National Urban League. We hope that you're enjoying our 17th Legislative Policy Conference brought to you by Verizon. You know, it's a rewarding challenge bringing this virtual conference to you during these unprecedented times. There's so much going on all around us, but you know what? Justice just won't wait. So thank you so much for participating in this conference with us. The title of this session is Finding Motivation, Restoration, and Renewal in Uncertain Times. The session is an acknowledgement of the extraordinary challenges that we are all experiencing. 2020, no doubt, has brought us a pandemic that in many ways took the world away from us. We're strained by overwork, financial stress, and pressures on our family relationships. And if that weren't enough, we're once again confronted by the horror of police violence and an endless news cycle of conflict and protest. The risk of burnout is real. We need restoration and motivation. Which brings me to our special guest today, Mr. DeVon Franklin. DeVon is an award-winning film producer, New York Times best-selling author, and motivational speaker who has quickly emerged as a media force and a leading authority on inspiration, spiritual wellness, and professional personal development. He's the president and CEO of Franklin Entertainment and is responsible for such films as the inspirational hit Breakthrough, the Sony Pictures Animation production, The Star, and the hit Sony Pictures film, Miracles from Heaven. DeVon is also the author of the New York Times bestsellers, The Truth About Men, The Success Commandments, The Wait, which by the way, he co-wrote with his beautiful wife, Megan Good, and Produced by Faith. Please welcome the man Variety magazine named one of the top 10 producers to watch. And Oprah calls him a bona fide dynamo, a different kind of spiritual teacher for our times. Welcome, DeVon.
Hey, Rhonda, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me. Urban League is my family, so I'm so blessed to be here.
Yes, it's so good to have you with us for our Legislative Policy Conference. You know what? I think we saw you a couple of years ago when you joined us for our annual conference. So to have you back and to share in this forum with us is amazing, and we're just excited. DeVon, listen, before we hear from you, I just have a question that I want to pose to you and just get your thoughts on. We've been discussing this unbelievably stressful moment in our lives. And I didn't even mention the upcoming elections and the attempts of voter suppression and voter disenfranchisement that really worries us all. Look at what happened in Georgia just last week. What do you think people need to stay focused and to navigate these unique pressures that they're facing and to restore their sense of hope and purpose during these uncertain times?
Yeah, I think that, in reference to so many of those challenges that you mentioned, I think the key phrase is focus. So let's talk about voter suppression for a moment. We know that there are forces at work to suppress and to stop the Black vote. We know it. Yes. So when we understand that, we don't allow the smokescreen of distractions to get us off of the focus that each Black vote, all votes, but specifically our vote, has to be cast. So what happens sometimes is we get frustrated by the process, right? So no, we got to fight against voter suppression. However, we still have to make sure we get down to those polls. If we got to wait in line, all right, y'all think you're going to just wait us out? No, we're going to wait you out.
We're going to wait you out,
we're going to stay focused on what it is we're here to do. And that's the critical key word to navigate so many of the challenges we're facing. Focus. Stay focused. What is the goal? What is the mission? Stay focused until it is accomplished. Don't allow distractions. Don't allow detours to distort that focus, because that focus is critical for real success.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And we can't wait to hear everything else that you have to share with us. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome again, DeVon Franklin.
Hey, y'all. So glad that you're here. It's kind of interesting, right? Here we are doing this virtual conference. Everything has gone virtual. But let me tell you, I believe that this virtual experience has made us more connected than ever before. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming into this session. It's all about finding motivation. So can we just stop right now before we go any further? Has anyone told you that you are alive? I need to let you know you are alive, okay? If you are alive, it means that you have made it to another day. You just got to take a minute to just be thankful for life right now. Too often we get up in the morning, we go about our day, we go about our way, and we forget to take in, wait a minute, I'm alive, I woke up. Do not take life for granted. Very, very important to just take a minute to give thanks where thanks is due. You are alive. I know there's a lot of challenges, a lot of problems, but do not overlook the blessing of life today, all right? You are alive. You are alive. You made it to another day. I know you've been listening to a whole lot of news, but let me give you that good news today, that no matter what you faced yesterday, it wasn't enough to stop you from being here today. And if you are here today, it's because there's an incredible call on your life. There's incredible purpose in you. And if you are here today, it's because your mission on this earth is not yet complete. So there's more work to do. And if you are alive, that is evidence that whatever it is you're supposed to get done, you are on your way to doing it. So, okay. So now that we've taken that in, let's talk about finding motivation. What is motivation? I found this quote about motivation that I love. It means to put in motion. And when I really saw that version of motivation, I said, this is fascinating. To put in motion. Now, when you apply that idea and that concept to the pandemic, it becomes a real challenge, right? Because it seems like once the pandemic hit, everything went from being in motion to stopping. Everything from the way it worked, can't go to the movie theater, can't go to sporting events, can't go to church. Everything stopped. You got to work from home. You got to shelter in place. You got to be safer at home. So everything stopped. And as a result, some of you, if you're in this session right now, if we're having a real honest moment, some of you, your hope stopped as well. Your inspiration stopped as well. Your faith stopped as well. Some of you, if we're really having an honest conversation, you may have lost your job. You may have been furloughed. You may be having some challenges financially. So as a result, your hope has stopped. Your faith has stopped. Your inspiration has stopped. And you've been asking, what in the world is going on? You've been wondering, how in the world can I get back to where it is I'm supposed to be? How in the world can I restart my life again? Well, let me tell you, if you have those questions, if you have those concerns, then you are in the right session right now. This session is all about getting back in motion, getting back to where, not only where you used to be, but where you need to be. May I submit for your consideration that one of my beliefs about the pandemic, it has been tragic. There's no doubt about it. It has been tragic. The lives that have been lost, the families that have been impacted. My heart and prayers go out to each and every one. With that being said, I do believe that prior to the pandemic, many of us were on a routine. We were just, getting up in the morning, checking our phone, going to work. If you have kids, you're picking up the kids, you're making dinner, you watch something at night, and you go to bed, and then you get up in the morning, you do it again, and then you go to church, and God is good, and then all the time, and God is good, and you go to eat, and you do it again. And here we are on this hamster wheel of life in a routine. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever gotten in the car and you're so familiar with how to get to work or church or your favorite restaurant that you get in the car and then you don't even realize that you know how you got there? Like you end up arriving at work and you're like, how did I get here? Because once you have a routine, you no longer need to be conscious in order to do it. Your subconscious takes over. So if you get in the car, you know how to get to work. You can be having a conversation and do a million different things. And all of a sudden you get to work, you're like, wait, I made it. Because your subconscious took over. And you went from being the pilot to being an autopilot. May I submit for your consideration that maybe before the pandemic, you were living on autopilot. You were living through the routine. Your subconscious was taking over. And as a result, you weren't actually actively participating in your life. Life was having you and you weren't having life. And so the pandemic for all of us was a time where we had to stop. We had to think. We had to reflect. because when we can't do the things we're used to doing, you saw people getting upset and frustrated. What I learned during this time is like, instead of resisting the moment, let me embrace the moment. Because see, at first when the pandemic hit, I was going through it like this. And now that we're coming out of it and there's all these things going on, in the world, relative to injustice and whatnot, some of us say, you may be like this. And so as I was like this, what happened was, I know this is like a fighting stance, but what happened is that as I was like this and had this kind of intensity, especially during the beginning of the pandemic, I couldn't actually receive what was available to me. And so I started to get frustrated because I wanted things to go back to the way they were. I wanted everything to be normal. But what I realized is that normal is not coming back the way that I knew it. You want to talk about uncertainty. Uncertainty is when we are used to doing a certain thing in a certain way and we can't do it and we don't know what to do. So what do? We tense up. This is what I did. I tensed up. I was like, okay, I'm going to get through this. And then what I realized is that that's the wrong way to do it. I was stressing myself out. I was adding to the stress. I was frustrated. I was mad because I'm trying to get through it like this. And what I realized is that in order for me to get the best out of this moment, I got to go from this to this. This is the international sign of surrender. I had to surrender. What am I supposed to do in this moment? Who am I really? Because maybe before the pandemic, I was busy, but I never took time to think about who I am. What does God have for me during this time that I may have never heard before? So I had to go from like this to like this. I would encourage you right now to change your posture from this to this. Allow this moment, allow for an opportunity to surrender so that you can open up your hands to receive. This is also the international sign for receiving. There are many things that are trying to happen in your life that are good, that are positive, that are taking you where you need to be. But you may, because if you're like this, you may miss it. It's time to open your hands to receive. Receive a new revelation about who you are. Receive a reveal about what you're supposed to do. Receive the blessings that are available to you. Receive a new way of thinking. Receive a new way of living. Receive a new way of working. Receive a new way of doing your career. It's so important to go from this to this. It's time to receive what is available to you right now. And many of you, if you've been stopped, if you're not in motion, I argue it's because you're not yet open. If you want to get back in motion, if you want to get things going again in your life, I encourage you to open up your hands, open up your heart, open up your mind, open up your life to receive. There is something new that is trying to be revealed in your life right now. I can tell you right now, during this pandemic, it has changed everything for me. Everything that I thought I was placing so much value in what I did instead of value in who I am. I need you to know you are not what you do. I'm gonna repeat for those in the back, you are not what you do. I repeat for those that are sitting way, way back, you are not what you do. Too often we put so much value in what we do. And here was the real depression during the pandemic. If you were like me and you put so much value in what you do, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hits and you can't do what it is that you are normally supposed to do. And as a result, if you were like me, at first I said, what am I going to do? Who am I? Because I was putting too much value in what I did. I need you to know that you are who you are. Whether you have the ability to do what you can do, whether or not you got downsized, furloughed, lost your job, don't allow the loss of a job to cause you to lose the vision of who you are. You need to know you are everything God called you to be, whether you have that job or not. I'm going to repeat, you are everything God has called you to be, whether you have that job or not. Really important to take that in, because if you do not believe in you, if you don't believe in who you are, you may get out there and you're looking for another job, and really what you're looking for is value. I need you to look in the mirror, and that's all the value you need to find right there looking back at you in the mirror. Because when you know how valuable you are, when you know how valued you are, then as you are searching for a job, you're doing it from a place of confidence, not from a place of, if I don't have this, I don't know who I am. No, you are blessed and highly favored. You are amazing. You are God's thought. You are God's daughter. You are God's son. You are creative. You are talented. You will make it, but only if you open up your hands to receive this. One of the things that I noticed, as we've navigated this moment, which is really important, we're talking about getting back into motion, right? Like my main goal, if you're in this session, is I want to get you back into motion. You got to get moving again. You got to get believing again. You got to get dreaming again. You got to get hoping again. You got to get living again. You got to get planning again. You got to get preparing again. You got to get praying again. Do not let what you see in the news to stop you in your tracks. I know we are in some difficult times right now. We are all in a hot pursuit of justice. We are all fighting against police brutality. We are all fighting against racism and discrimination and injustice. We are fighting that fight, and we will win that fight. However, I need to be clear that you have a mission to do, which is sometimes here's what happens. We get so involved in what's happening outside of us that we neglect what's happening inside of us. You ever been on a plane and it says, before you, if there's a problem and the oxygen mask come down, before you put someone else's mask on, you got to put your own mask on first? Why? Because when you can breathe, you can help others breathe. If you're not breathing in your purpose, if you're not living in the way that you were created to live, you will not have a great of an impact in others' lives until you first begin to get aligned with what you were created to do. So it's so important. Yes, do I want you to be concerned? Do I want you to be on the front lines? Do I think you should be helping bring about change in this world? Absolutely. But let the change that you create in the world be mirrored by the change that you create internally on the inside. This is why it's all about getting back into motion. Because some of you, you've been stopped in your tracks. Many of you, you've been stopped in your tracks out of fear. And I'm going to talk about fear in a minute. But this is all about getting back into motion, all about getting your life back, all about getting your mind back, getting your thoughts back, getting your hope back. I don't know who I'm talking to right now, but some of you have been carrying a dream for so long. And if I'm being honest, you put it down because you said, I'm too old. I don't have the money. I don't have the education. It's just not going to happen. Now is the time. You got to go and pick that dream back up. Now is the time to get that dream back into motion. Now is the time to not look in the mirror and get depressed and angry and frustrated and mad. I want you to look in the mirror and say, God, you did a great job, and I am going to be faithful over the dream that you gave me. I want to talk about a parable that Jesus spoke. In Matthew 25, Jesus gives us this parable about, and many scriptures call it, about time and talent, right? So it's this idea that there's a master, and the master's about to go on a trip. And so the master gives each of his 3 servants talents according to their ability to manage them. Now, what's interesting is that if he was giving them talents according to their ability, it implies that he had been observing them before he blessed them. I need you to know that some of you feel like you're being overlooked. You feel like no one sees how much you show up. No one sees your dedication. No one sees your commitment. No one sees your integrity. No one sees your character. You feel overlooked. I need you to know you are being watched right now by someone who has the capacity to bless you. You need to know you are not forgotten. You've got to know you are not forgotten. Because some of you're just literally, you cry at night and nobody knows. You put on a front, right? You come to events like this and you're in the mix, but on the inside, you're really broken because you feel like you keep putting in this work, you don't see a return. I need you to know that God sees you. I need you to know that there is someone right now that you don't even know that's watching you who has the capacity and the intent to bless you. Keep showing up. Keep being integral. Keep having character. Keep being faithful. Keep being persistent. Keep being committed. And so the master gives 5 talents to one, 2 talents to the other, and 1 talent to the other, to the last one. Then he leaves. Now, here's what's so fascinating. The master gives no instruction to the servants what to do with the talents. Now, I want to pause here. Again, just give you a little bit of background. When this scripture was told, right, when Jesus was telling the parable, a talent was not just like, some coins. A talent was actually a weight. Because back in the day, money was weight. So a talent actually weighed 75 pounds. So think about it. You go from having nothing, and then one got 75 pounds, one got 150, and one got like 375. So all of a sudden, they're blessed, but the blessing has a weight. So they're blessed, but they're also burdened. I need you to know, if you're feeling burdened right now, it's because of the blessing. So the weight of your burden is actually the weight of your blessing. So if you're feeling really burdened, like, how am I going to do it? You have to know that what you've been given has been completely designed based upon your capacity. So if you're feeling weighted down, may I submit to for your consideration that weight is actually consistent with your worth. If you couldn't carry it, you wouldn't have it. I need to repeat, if you couldn't carry it, you would not have it right now. Somebody right now, you've been so burdened, I want you to flip it. Instead of saying I'm burdened, that means I'm blessed. Instead of saying, oh, I'm so burdened, anytime you want to just speak, oh, I'm burdened, I want you to say, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Because when you look at those 3 servants, they were burdened, but really they were blessed. They went from having nothing, and then now they had everything, but now they were responsible to do something with what they were given. The master gave no instruction, and he left. So there's one with the 5 talents, one with the 2, one with the 1. The one with the 2 and the 5, the scriptures tell us, they go and put what they had to work. They went to the market, they put it to work. The one with the 5 gave 5 more. He had 10 total. The one with the 2 put it to work, gained 2 more, had 4. I want to pause. They had something, and they realized that in order to get an increase on what we have, because think about it, they had to have, I believe, a vision of a life of increase. They had to have a vision for their life. They had to have a dream for their life. They were given something, they had a vision, and they said, well, the only way that I can increase what I have is to do what? They could not hold on to it and get an increase. How was the one with the 5 able to get 5 more? How was the one with the 2 able to get 2 more? Because they took what they had and they invested it into someone else's dream. I got to talk to somebody right now. In order for your dream to come true, for your dream to manifest, you have to invest your gift into somebody else's dream. When you invest what you have into somebody else's dream, the return you get on your gift is that your dream gets fulfilled. Too often we live in a society, in a world that's so selfish, where it's all about me, 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 me. You know, it's all about, oh, let me take the selfie, right? Okay, but sometimes we need to take the focus off of us and say, how can I take what I got and help you? Because I recognize that we're all interconnected. So when you look at the one with the 5 and the one with the 2, how do we know that they invested their talents, this money into someone else? Because think about the stock market. What is the stock market? That is basically a market for dreams. Someone had to come up with the idea, oh, it would be really great to create a social network that would connect people all over the world, right? And the stock market basically says, hey, you can invest in these dreams because these dreams will give you a return on your investment. When you look at the stock market, it's literally just an idea exchange. Somebody at some point had to have an idea, and they needed investors to fund their idea. And when the investors funded the idea, when that idea produced a return, those that invested in the idea got a return on their investment. I need you to know that God has invested so much in you. In order to get a return on the investment he's put in you, you got to use your gift. to help somebody else. The one with the 2 and the 5, they went and invested the money into someone else's idea, and guess what? They got 100% return. They got everything they put in and back in more, right? So the one with the 5 got 5 more, the one with 2 got 2 more. I don't know who I'm talking to right now. It's time to get back in motion. It's time to get back in motion. You've been holding on to what you've had for too long. It's time to put it in action. You got so much in you. You have so much to offer. You have so much knowledge. You have so much wisdom. Why are you holding on to it? Why? Stop telling yourself a lie that you're too old. Stop telling yourself a lie that time has passed you by. Stop telling yourself a lie that you don't have the money. Stop telling yourself a lie that because the person that was supposed to promote you didn't, then that means it ain't gonna happen. Stop it. Stop telling yourself the lie that oh, I don't have the education. No. Look in the mirror and say, well, God, if I'm still alive, that must mean you have every intent to do everything you've promised. So let me do my part, which is to use what I've been given, to use it. Now, here's where the fear comes in. This pandemic has brought a lot of fear. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the future. I'm afraid what's going to happen. I don't know. Uncertainty about our communities, our uncertainty about our government, uncertainty about our jobs, finance, economy. You watch the news. The news loves to perpetuate uncertainty. So that fear, we have a choice. When you look at the one with the 2 and the 5, it doesn't imply that they weren't afraid. They could have lost. Think about it. The master gave them talents, gave them money that wasn't theirs. And here they are going to the marketplace. They could have lost it. We can imply that there was some fear there. But the one with the 2 and the 5 said, I might be fearful, but I'm choosing faith over fear. Now we're talking. Now is not a time for fake faith. Now is not a time for hollow holiness. No. I want you to be honest about how you feel. Be honest. Be honest. Transparency leads to transformation. Be honest. Because too often you're putting on this front and you're being brave to the world, but on the inside you're broken because you're scared. It's okay to be afraid. You don't have to be Superman or Superwoman. Guess what? Those are fictional characters, by the way. Okay? I work in Hollywood. All right, let me tell you, all that's fictional. You cannot put on a cape and fly around your city. It ain't gonna work. So stop trying to expect out of yourself a fictional level of performance that is not real. It is okay to say, yo, I'm scared. I'm terrified right now. Okay, I'm fearful. But in the face of this fear, how can I choose faith? In the area I'm afraid the most is the area where I need the most faith. The one with the 2 and the 5, we can extrapolate that they were afraid, but they said, we're gonna believe. We're gonna have faith. We're gonna believe that we put this to work. We're gonna get a return, because it's so much came back to the vision and having faith in the vision. This is why I get back to, you gotta stay faithful over what God has given you. And you gotta keep clear in your mind, the vision, your dream, whatever it is you are supposed to be working for, you gotta keep it clear in your mind. It's okay to be fearful, but I'm asking you, even in the face of your fear, have faith. I'm worried about my job. Okay, great, you're fearful. But what can you do to have faith over your job? All right, I'm worried that I'm not gonna find a job. Well, I've been unemployed before and I found jobs before. So anytime that fear creeps up, let me combat it with faith. No, I got a new job coming. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and get dressed tomorrow in my work clothes. And people are gonna say, well, what are you doing? Well, I'm just getting ready for my new job. Why? Because I'm choosing faith over fear. Come on, somebody, I'm talking to somebody right now. Go ahead right now. You know what? If I were you, if you're unemployed, go ahead and design your business card right now. Go ahead. Go ahead and change your Instagram profile with the title of the job that you want. We're talking about faith over fear. Come on, you got to put your fear on notice. Fear, you're here. But faith, the faith I have is greater. You got to put your fear on notice. Because if you don't, your fear will disrupt you. You think the coronavirus was a virus. Fear has killed more people than the coronavirus ever will. And fear may be disrupting your life right now. The antidote to fear is faith. So let's talk about that. The one with the one was afraid. He did nothing with what he was given. As a matter of fact, he dug a hole in the ground and he buried it. Just in case, for safekeeping, just in case. The scriptures tell us that the master came back. And the one with the 5 said, look, master, you gave me 5. Here's 5 more. The one with the 2 said, look, master, you gave me 2. Here's 2 more. And the master said to both of them, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. Now I will make you ruler over many. Come and enjoy your master's happiness. They got a promotion. They went from working for the master to working with the master. They became partners. When it says come and share in the master, that's a partnership. And the one with the 1 said, here's the one you gave me. You know, I know that you're a tough master and that you reap where you don't sow. And so I just wanted to give it back to you nice and clean. And the master said, well, if you knew I was tough, why wouldn't you have at least put what I gave you on the books at the bank and at least gotten some interest? And he took the 1 from the 1 and gave it to the one who had the 10. Fear. Each one had the opportunity for the promise. Each one of them had the opportunity for partnership and for promotion. But the one who let fear trump faith ended up losing everything that they had. It's time to put your faith back in motion. It's time to hope again. It's time to believe again. If you are in this session right now, it is not by accident. If you are in this session right now, it's because it is time to get life back in motion. You got to get your faith going again. You got to get your hope going again. You got to get your belief going again. Please listen to what I'm telling you right now. If you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, then you have to know that if you are alive right now, there is an intent, there is an instruction, there is a mandate over your life. I think the pandemic has done a great job for all of us because it's made us less distracted. It has allowed us to focus. It's caused us to self-reflect. One of the reasons why we are seeing the incredible, dynamic, global protests around the injustice that we have witnessed here through the murder of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and so many others. One of the reasons why is because this pandemic has made us less distracted. And as a result, finally, it could be seen. Oh, finally, wow, we didn't realize this is what, was going on. And now everybody is activated. But in order for this movement to produce the change that it can, it's gonna require faith. We gotta see it before we see it. This is why I encourage you to be the change that you want to see in the world. See yourself, your life. See the family, see the finances, see the purpose, see starting the business, see the policy changes, see winning the election, see getting the business plan, see getting the role. See it here before you see it here. Because when you receive, remember we talked about that? Don't do it like this, do like this. Because then when you receive, you will be receiving what you've already seen. This is why you got to get your vision back in motion, your faith back in motion, your hope back in motion, your belief back in motion. Now, do me a favor. I know there's a whole lot more to go in this day, but the moment you get done with this incredible conference, you got to have a business meeting with yourself. You need to sit down and say, okay, self, what we gonna do? How are we gonna get this thing back in motion? The same way the government, restart the economy. Let me tell you, you gotta restart your life today. Where do I need more faith? Where do I need more belief? What am I hoping for? How do I get this? How do I get my life back in motion? You gotta have a business meeting with you. Because it is time. It is time. Be the change. Be the motion. Be the faith. Be the hope. Be the belief. Y'all know me, I can talk all day, but I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm praying for your success right now and every day.
DeVon, thank you so much for your message of hope and inspiration. That was powerful and amazing. You know what? You said when you can breathe, you can help other people breathe. I love that. So today, we're inviting everybody who's listening to this session and watching this session to take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. Take it all in. Take in everything DeVon just shared with us. Take a deep breath and remember to have faith over fear. You know what? I speak for the National Urban League and all of those who are joining us today when I say, DeVon, that you have definitely restored our spirit and optimism for everything that lays ahead, all the things that we don't even know what's to come. We thank you for inspiring us today. We have to be open to receive.
Yes,
I
do.
love it.
So important, critical.
So critical, so powerful, so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing those powerful, inspirational words with us. Thank all of you for joining us for this session on motivation and restoration with DeVon Franklin. Why don't you take the energy that he's given to us, take that forward, take this energy forward. We need you. We need all of us in this fight together. Remember, we're all in it together. Enjoy the rest of this conference. See you later.